Day 47. So I continue to work with Sean and everybody trying to get, we're going deeper into the crime um, data and learning how to do that. And um, we might try some different tactics to, um, instead of buying the data, do something different and try to maybe partnership with people that have the data. So that's a different thing that I guess we'll be working through and figuring out. But I'm also like learning about market cap tables and how to decide how much equity everyone gets and everything. It's like kind of crazy. It's like so many decisions. It's so much like decision paralysis analysis. Like I'll never know enough to feel comfortable. I think the only way I would feel comfortable is if I already did it. So I think that's the hardest part of all this, is just wandering into the wilderness and not knowing if it's good or bad. So, but we are meeting with a guy about who might be good for marketing for us. That might be another co-founder, and that's exciting. So we'll see. Hopefully. But the thing on my mind today, or I guess right now, is communities. I I was thinking about this as I was reading about market caps and equities and things like that. Is like, I can't believe this is real. You know, in some ways, it's kind of crazy. Like I'm living my real life. This is actually happening. Um, and maybe it's useless and meaningless and like nothing, and it's going to be worth everything's worth nothing, but it's fun. It's really fun to like think about these things being worth something eventually. And I it's definitely interesting because I I don't know, I guess I don't know how to say this. It's like I've had my same friends for a long time. I've had my same family for a long time. I've had my same community for a long time, and everyone's great. You know, there's nothing wrong. It's but when I stepped into startup school, into YC, it's interesting because I start meeting people that are of a different community than the one I was raised in, and this community is so much more of everything, more aggressive, more intelligent, more well read, more, just these people. I'm not saying they're the best of the best, but I'm saying they're definitely just different than I've ever experienced before. And they're unlocking things in me because feel less, I feel pushed like to catch up to them or just stick with them. And it's like a fun challenge to stay up with these people or beat them, like out of everyone in the startup school, like we're only like 1.1% is going to make it. Like it's such a weird competition, community, friendship thing that we're all doing. And I was just reflecting on how like it's so odd to me that I could have joined any community or no, like stuck with my normal community, and I wouldn't be doing this. It wouldn't be on my mind. It wouldn't be a goal of mine. It wouldn't be. I wouldn't be noticing the same blind spots as I am right now. I wouldn't be learning about the same things I am right now. I wouldn't be focusing my attention or my energy on these things. And it just got me. I mean, like I'm super grateful that the community exists of these people, or these people exist at all to like keep pushing me. But like, I don't know. I could easily not do this. I could easily just enjoy what I have and not be pushing for more. And I think it's an interesting thought experiment to say, like, at some level, I'm really pushing myself to go further with this than I have with anything else so far. And I'm really enjoying this community because it challenges you, and there's no beating it. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like a forever game. Like, this happened when I finally understood, my eyes opened um, when Luther was born, my son was born about probably 6 months ago. My eyes opened and said, like, let's challenge ourselves. Let's go out into the world and challenge ourselves. So that's why I'm doing this. This is all kind of like I need to challenge myself, or else, I don't want my kids to see a dad that isn't pushing himself too. I feel like that's good for everybody, good for me, good for them, good for everybody. And I started building my own like mini startups and everything, but I finally realized that
I don't know what that means.
I don't know why it does
If
this.
you like.
I finally realized that I don't do very well alone. I do really well on teams, and that's when I found YC. And I don't know. I'm not making a lot of sense, other than I think billionaires and great people evaluate their community like they would evaluate their job. And it doesn't mean that their relationships aren't real. It's just a understanding that their relationships should be helpful to their life. Like there's, I've been obsessed with Jeff Bezos lately, and he's got a lot of quotes that like say like, life's too short to be around not resourceful people, and I'm sure other people have quotes like that. It's like, life's too short to be around people that don't push you or don't do whatever. And I think I'm coming around to that understanding, and by understanding I mean using that knowledge and actually applying it, because I feel like for a long time I know that I've been taught that you are the three people you spend the most time with at the end of the day. That's the three people you are. And one was meeting my wife and watching her be so driven to do more, be more, try more, just keep pushing to achieve her goals, like really opened my eyes that people live like this. And then meeting Sean, same thing, just like people that just like think so clearly about everything in the future, and it's the Yoda quote, there is no try, they just do. So I think that's what I'm coming back to, is so for decades of my life I was proud of my community, my friends that I've had since high school and college, and I'm not throwing them away. It's a more like I'm doing a yes, and I'm saying I want those people in my life forever, but also I need to accept the fact that growth is a product of change. Like I need some change in order to grow, and all of that can't be generated by me in my own head. Like I can read all the books I want, but at the end of the day, I need to interact with other humans that do this too, that ask me questions and ask me to do things. And like, things don't just change by themselves. I can't grow by thinking about it. I have to grow by doing and interacting and being. And to do that, I need to understand that my community is either going to be an accelerator or a hindrance on that. And that's on my decision every day. And there's nothing wrong with anything, and I'm not going to like stop talking to people, but it's like, if I'm going to invest my time and energy into something, into a relationship, I should not only evaluate everything in life that way, every relationship, but I should at least notice and remind myself that I will go the furthest, I will be pushed the farthest, I will grow the most. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to grow. I will grow the most if I spend more time and think about people more that push me. And I need to interact with them in order for that to happen. I need to make them part of my life, part of my community. I need to update my community a little bit. And I'm kind of saying this with a lot of like, I'm not trying to like, it's not negative. It's yes. And I want to keep my community, but also I want to be grateful and respectful to my community of family and friends and neighbors and everybody that I love spending time with, but also being realistic that certain people push me to grow and certain people don't. And I need to not be surrounded by either of them all the time, but I do need to inject some people or I should say, injecting people that force me to grow has forced me to grow, and the opposite is true too, but you can't really have one without the other. And so let's be more realistic about that. And I think billionaires are very good at this. They don't, I'm sure they're not, I'm sure a lot of them are sociopaths, but I'm sure they also realize that relationships kind of come and go in some ways, and it doesn't mean you shouldn't have them. It just means that you should evaluate them periodically and decide if it's helping you grow or not. I guess it goes back to what are your priorities, right? And this is a priority of mine that's changing, right? That my priority was to keep my community for for the rest of my life, exactly the same. And I'm not saying I'm not going to. I'm still going to prioritize my friends. I'm still going to see them as much as I can. But having kids has kind of changed my priorities a little bit about that, because now I have to prioritize my kids. And part of prioritizing my kids is prioritizing my growth for me and for my kids. And it's weird to think that kids change you so much, but they really do. Like, it's so crazy. Like, I have so much more purpose in life. I have so much more, like, goals. I have so much more motivation. I have so much more, like, hunger for growth in front of them, And, I have to be more active in my understanding of how I'm spending my time and my noticing of who is in my community and who's not in my community. And that's important. I never considered that something I'd be willing to assess or change or work on. And I don't know. It's something that I'm learning is actually really important, because I won't grow unless I have my community pushing me. And then thank God for YC, because where would I find these people? I don't know a single person. I don't know if I've ever met a single person in my life up to this point that I would want to build a company with, and it would be a good idea. There's a lot of people that would be fun, and a lot of people that would be, they're smart, but it's like getting married. You have to go on so many dates, and the dating pool is 1 out of every 1,000 people are single in this dating pool of starting companies, like starting a company you want to be a part of too. And then after that, you still have to go on all these dates, you still have to meet all these people. And, I would call them first dates at YC. I call them first dates, the first interaction with people. I've been on probably 15 or 20 of them, and I'm seeing so many people that I would have never even met or heard of, or I would never even, I didn't know people like this existed. It's not that I never met them. It's not that I never heard of them. It's that I just didn't know that there are humans out there that want growth like me, and they probably won't say it or think of it that way. They want more. They want to start their own thing or whatever, but maybe they have different motivations. That's my motivation, but I feel like this community forces me to use 100% of my brain and 100% of my time to be productive. And It's so weird. There's nothing like it, There's nothing like people, like there's nothing like finding your community, you know? And I'm lucky that community is pushing me so much, And it's not even active. It's my internal drive to be better than everybody, you know. I think we all have that, You want to be better at something or whatever. You want to beat people at the games and stuff. This is the ultimate game. Like I never realized. I always thought capitalism was stupid, and we should all it kind of hurts things more than it helps things. And I still kind of believe that, honestly, when it comes to like the planet and humans. We usually like make people more miserable because of capitalism. So that's a whole nother topic, but I will say this: capitalism is so fun. It's so fun when you're in the middle of it. So I can see why it's addicting. I can see why people, I can see why billionaires think they're right when they say they deserve that much money.
Okay, I found this on the web for They Say. Check it out.
Okay, thanks a lot. Stupid Apple. Okay. I can see why. I'm not saying they are right. I don't think they are. I think they should be giving away a lot of their money, because there's so many people in need. But I can see how they put the time in, put the effort in, built their community, and their community says go further, push more. And they surround themselves with those people. And so it's hard for everybody to listen to each other, So that's kind of been my reflection today is I've just, so much of my life, I've I've taken so much off the table of things that I'd be willing to not even change, but just try or just do a little bit or learn about. And one of them was community, because I was so scared of losing mine, I guess. And I thought people that purposefully make friends with powerful people were suck-ups and just not like I didn't think those relationships were real. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but I think, like, this is going to sound really weird, but I come back to this all the time where it's like when Hillary Clinton got her emails stolen, or I should just say published. I don't know what the actual, at the end of the day with all the stupid politics, what actually happened. But when they got her emails back and forth, because they were not, encrypted or whatever, most of her emails back and forth were like to her other secretaries in the government, like the Treasury Secretary and she was emailing back and forth with like Colin Powell all the time, and they were talking about like the weather and what TV shows they were watching, and she's watching The Good Wife or whatever, and they're talking about their day and like it's very evident that at this moment in time, Colin Powell, Jesus Christ, Colin Powell is one of her best friends, because that's how they communicate. And my wife does this so well. My wife will make best friends with everybody that she's interacting with that month or that year. And she doesn't lose her hometown friends. She doesn't lose her childhood friends. She doesn't lose her med school friends. She keeps adding more best friends. And there's best friends you spend a lot of time with. There's best friends you spend a little bit of time with. But you don't recategorize them as not best friends. Like I've always had this like very finite mindset of these are my circle and these other people are not in the circle. And the people I'm not in the circle with, I treat so differently. But I don't know why I've done that. I don't know why I couldn't let my circle be flexible and be big and have good relationships with people I don't talk to very often, or like my old roommate, before I met my wife, just reached out because she's wants to talk or ask us a question about something, and and then we're talking about her wedding and everything, and it's somebody that I would like go have dinner with anytime if I saw her again, but I don't talk to her regularly. But it's like a previous Brian a few years ago would have labeled her outside of my circle and do not reach out to this person. Do not talk to this person. They don't like you because they're not literally saying I like you to my face once a month. I make up a reason why they no longer like me or want to talk to me or interact with me. But this is where like YC's forcing me to go talk to. I had to reach out to my cousin that I've like never really spoken to, but he's like a genius, because he's in a startup, and I don't know, what would a billionaire do? They would go reach out to their long cousin that they've never really interacted with, that will help them. And what did he do? He's the nicest guy on earth. He wants to like help me in any way he can. And I loved for so many years of my life to make up reasons why these people don't want to help me, don't like me, or I'm bothering them. The word I always go to is bother. I bother everybody. When I need something or ask something or want help with something, it's a bother. And I don't know if I've gotten over that yet. I think I'm still working on it, where I'm thinking I'm bothering people, but at least YC forces me, startups force me to do it anyways, because I can't not. I have to keep growing. It forces me to grow by forcing me to grow, by forcing me to try new things and interact with new people. I have to, because I need to get the answers to keep moving in this like big game of puzzle, this game, that I'm in. And if I don't get the answer, I can't keep pushing forward about what the next decision is. Like, I needed to talk to my cousin in order to understand better if I should get into business with Sean. And it's like, I didn't know and how to get in business with Sean. I didn't know these things, but I could have sat around and like moped about it and said like, I don't have any help. Or I could raise my hand and be uncomfortable for a little while. And then of course, what happens every time? These people everyone's the nicest so people are so nice at the end of the day. And I don't know why I label them. I do this with my dad too. Like, I label me as bothering him. And after every single interaction, he's nothing but nice and helpful and loving towards me. And I still like worry I'm like too needy as a child. And then once you have kids, you realize that they're not needy. You want to help them any way you can. Like, if anything, he goes up above and beyond, which like makes me uncomfortable, but it's not because it's because he feels like he doesn't help me enough, I guess, or something. Anyways, but as I understand this community differently, and I understand my time and the game of capitalism, it's fun. It's just so fun because it just uses all of your brain. But it's definitely hard, but it pushes you, and I'm starting to interact with people I would never talk to before. I would never, spend time with, and they're great people. Oh, and to finish the Hillary Clinton thing, like, at this point in Hillary Clinton's life, this guy who is her coworker is like her best friend. And it doesn't mean that we don't make friends with our coworkers, but it surprised me that they would be emailing late at night talking about TV shows. And I always thought that people, I have my parents are great, but they, for whatever reason, I took away from that experience with them about work that you should not let work dictate your life and take over your life too much. I'm not saying they did anything wrong, but from my kid self made up that conclusion for some reason, and I still fight it and think through it sometimes. And anyways, so when I think through how I want to live my life and balance my life with work and everything, first of all, work is something I've always tried to minimize and not ever take too much of my time, and that's why this doesn't really feel like work too. So I'm kind of like putting a little asterisk on it. Like, starting a startup doesn't feel like work; it feels like fun. But I've always been nervous to have friends at work. I've really close relationships that I label that person outside of the circle for some reason. They're outside of my community. I will not be friends with my coworkers because, I think there's a simple reason, which is like, I don't want to be fired because of it. I don't want to like give somebody too much information. I'd rather be a nobody. I'd rather have nobody think about me at work than be the center of attention. I just feel like that's problematic. I just want to fly under the radar. But I've thought I looked down on people whose best friends were at work because it made it seem like they had no friends outside work, and that's who they were. They were being defined by their work and their work friends and their work community. And I didn't want to have that as part of my life. But I lived that way for my whole life so far. But there's a big but coming. This whole community discussion is opening my eyes that it's not that literal. It's not that simple. It's not that black and white. That I can still feel that way, but I'm omitting the part about the work community sometimes being the community that pushes you to be better at everything, at work, at life. Like, it's sometimes the best role models are not your high school friends. They're your work community, because they're the other high achieving people that you're competing with and against all day. And I never thought of it that way. I never thought of my best coaches, mentors, and role models to be in my work community, not in my friend community. And it's opening my eyes that the more close relationships I have in the work community, the more I grow. Because I spend more time with those people than I do with my friends. And B, those people are usually high functioning, high intelligence, high work ethic, high achieving people, especially people above you. And I always thought being friends with your boss was stupid and a suck up move and a bad idea. And now I'm thinking I should be friends. I should be friends and spend as much time as possible with every high achieving person I can find, regardless of where they're located in my life. And there is no exceptions. That's it. It's that simple. Do not limit yourself and reevaluate these people that you're spending time with. I don't want fake friends. I don't want fake relationships, but my time is valuable. It's not a but, I guess it's an and my time is valuable. I don't want fake friends. I don't want fake relationships, and my time is valuable. So how do I have both, actually? Maybe I should find close relationships with high functioning people, either at work or outside of work. But maybe I shouldn't avoid high functioning, high achieving people to be friends with just because I work with them. And I never thought of it that way. I always thought of it as, a balance of friends and work with my time. But I'm going to prioritize my community. That's my growth. I have to grow by prioritizing my community. That's becoming priority number one, slowly and surely. Every single time I make a decision to make myself grow. So that's all I have today. Still keeping all my goals up. I'm up to 6. I'm up to 6 push-ups and pull-ups, and still doing it with my weight. I think I'm like 168 right now. So I'm hoping to get down to, I think, I'm gonna set a real goal pretty soon, maybe like 163. Then I'll start putting on muscle. But almost there, almost done. And see you tomorrow.